it came in a way personally that no one could have expected, because I was on a call that night, and we were assessing whether there was any casualties. If you recall, there were missiles fired in a base where Canadian troops were present, and I was on a call late in the evening to assess the situation, and fortunately there were no civilian casualties and no military casualties. No Canadians were injured. And I recall at that time I was on the phone, and I looked at Twitter like I do sometime, and I saw something, a flash news report coming, I think it was the BBC, that said a plane there was a crash in Tehran, that a plane, at that time we didn't know, I mean the news was just referring to a plane crash in Tehran. And I remember sending a note to one of our colleagues and say, not only we have to deal with that today, but there was also a plane crash, and someone replied to me, there's also an earthquake. So I went to bed that night and saying, this was a really tragic start of the year, which would bring so many things in 2020 that no one could have ever expected.
Yeah.
And around 3 a.m. in the night, I think, or 4, I got a call from our operations center that said, Minister, we need to alert you that there's been a plane crash. And at that time, we did not know exactly the number of Canadians who had died. And they said, but there's a number of Canadians on board. And at that time, I said, and now my mind started to race back to what I went to bed with. They said, yeah, that's the plane who took off from Tehran, who was going to Kiev, which now brought back what I saw before I went to bed. And I said, oh, and now obviously the tragedy struck.